going on, traders? Happy Thursday. Thank you guys so much for tuning back in. But as usual, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know exactly how my trading went today. So let's jump right into it. And as you guys can see from the screen, it was another green day overall on my account. And as far as how I did day trading wise, right? I traded both SQs and TQs today, as you guys can see. And I made $54 on SQs and $42 on TQs, right? So finished almost at my 1% daily goal, right? Practically there. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know exactly how I was able to profit today, right? But these are all my filled orders, as you guys can see. And I'm going to go ahead and explain, my thought process behind today. But as far as what I saw going on during the pre-market session, we were obviously, indicating signs of an uptrend, right? Forming these higher highs and higher lows. And the one thing I was looking out for, right, was this previous resistance level that we had been experiencing in the past, right? And it's been a pretty strong resistance. As you guys can see, the last time we tested it, we did end up pulling on back before we recovered and started to retest, right, this resistance level. So that's why I wanted to focus on SQs mainly today, at least, right? And so as soon as the market opened, we actually saw this thing start to sell off aggressively. I got into SQs with 25% position size. As it continued to sell off hard, I completely added a full position size and cut it pretty quickly there, right? I thought we were going to actually start to form a new high, kind of like how we were during the pre-market session, right? But ultimately that didn't happen. And I did lock in about a $40 profit there on SQs just off that drop. We were definitely more volatile today. The NASDAQ was, at least, right? Because of the movements that we've been seeing the past few days, the large movements at least. And so as this thing started to sell off, I started to buy into TQQQ as we approached the middle VWAP. The main reason being is, I noticed that this thing has been consistently uptrending. And although we did sell off, right, I thought there was definitely margin for this thing to pick back up the way it had been trading. And, although it didn't go, exactly how I thought, as you guys can see, it did pop and pull on back, right? It did eventually start to push up again. And I was in with about a half, with a 50% position size, right? And as it started to pick up to around this area, I cut the trade, right, prematurely. This thing, it did end up running, but the reason why I cut it here is we were getting rejected around this area in the past, right? And so as it did push on there, I did cut my trade on TQs, and I did start to, try to focus on SQQQ as this thing became more overbought, right? So as I cut my trade on TQs, I ended up getting into SQs right around this area as we were pulling on back. And as it did start to push up closer to the resistance that we were testing, I did average up again on SQQQ, right? We ended up pulling on back and I sized down completely. And then as we pushed back up here, right, I bought in with another 25% position size on SQs. And as we continue to climb, I added another 25%. And then as we did end up selling off later on in the day, I was in the green, right, about $140, but it ultimately ended up bouncing, right, and I gave back some profit there. And so that's how I was able to walk away with around a $97 profit, right, if I'm not mistaken. But that's pretty much my thought process, right? I was definitely focusing more on SQQQ, given we were super overbought, right? But at the same time, I did understand that we were very bullish on the day, and because of that, I wanted to try to take advantage of this, potential TQQQ play I saw once, this thing did sell off pretty fast and we were experiencing an uptrend during the pre-market session, right? It made sense to me why we could potentially recover, and that is what ended up happening, right? It unfortunately didn't end up selling off the way I thought, right? Although we didn't end up selling off, we are very overbought, right? So we definitely could experience some form of price correction the next day or next few days, right? Doesn't mean it has to happen. This thing has been super bullish, right? Making these higher highs and higher lows, and it can definitely continue it if it wants to. I'm just going to be following up with it day by day, right, to see what happens. But that's pretty much everything. Thank you guys so much for tuning back in. If you guys have any questions at all stock related, go ahead and drop a comment and I will be more than happy to answer that. But otherwise, I will be posting a recap tomorrow, so I hope to see you guys then. Take care.